This is a calm Italian bedtime story. Let your eyes close and simply listen. The kitchen is awake long before anyone admits it. Not because of noise, not because of light, because certain rooms in Sicily never fully sleep. They loosen, they wait. The air from the street slips in through the open window without asking. It carries warmth that does not belong to the day anymore. Stone that has released the sun slowly, the faint salt of the sea, far enough to be memory, close enough to be felt. Inside, the table holds its place in the center of the room, scarred in small, ordinary ways. A darker circle where a pot once rested too long. A thin line where a knife slipped years ago and was never mentioned again. The light above it has been on for hours. No one remembers turning it on. No one considers turning it off. In houses like this, lights are not commands. They are permissions. A chair stands near the table, angled just slightly away. Not abandoned, not prepared, simply paused. A bowl is set down. Ceramic, heavy. Its edge is uneven. The glaze worn thin in places that fingers have touched for decades without thinking. Flour is taken from a paper bag, folded and refolded until it has learned its shape. The bag opens with a soft resistance, as if it knows this moment and has accepted it many times before. The flour falls slowly, not measured, not scattered. Enough is enough here. It always has been. The bag is closed again with a firm press of the palm. Not sealed, settled. Sugar follows, taken from a container that has never been replaced. The lid does not align properly anymore. It is placed back slightly off, the way it always ends up. No one fixes it. A spoon is chosen without looking. Not the biggest, not the smallest. The one whose handle has darkened, where hands have rested year after year. It moves through the bowl patiently, not stirring, listening. Behind everything, the refrigerator hums, low, uninterested. It has learned that it is not the center of this room. The stove is lit with a movement that belongs to muscle memory. The flame appears small and steady, like something that has been waiting quietly for its turn. A pot is placed down. Water is poured in without splashing. The spoon rests across the rim, balanced in a way that would be hard to explain but easy to repeat. A towel lies folded near the counter. It has been used today. It will be used again. It is picked up, not to clean, but to hold the pot handle, even though it is still cool. In this kitchen, hands prepare before heat arrives. The room changes its posture, not warmer, not brighter, calmer. This kitchen has held nights like this for generations. Nights before weddings, nights after funerals, nights when someone could not sleep and needed the comfort of doing something small and necessary. It does not distinguish between them. It simply absorbs. A drawer opens just enough to release a knife. The drawer closes immediately. No sound. The knife moves once through the loaf, resting under a cloth. Then again. The crust gives way with a familiar resistance. A crumb falls to the floor. No one looks down. Crumbs are patient here. They wait. The sink is used briefly. Water runs, then stops. The pipes respond behind the walls, then return to silence. The house accepts the sound and releases it. A finger dips into the bowl, just enough to taste. Not for sweetness, for balance. The finger is wiped on the apron, not the towel. The apron has earned this role. A small nod follows, barely visible, but the room understands. The flame is lowered slightly. Time is invited in. Outside, the street has thinned out. A scooter passes without urgency. A voice drifts upward, already dissolving by the time it reaches the window. None of it enters fully. The cupboard opens. Inside, jars sit without order. Some newer, some older than memory. One is chosen, opened, used once, then closed and returned to the exact spot it came from. The cupboard stays closed. The second chair remains against the wall, unmoved. The radio on the shelf stays off tonight. The kitchen does not need accompaniment. The window is checked with the back of the hand. The air is right. The curtain lifts once, then settles. The pot releases a soft sound. Not boiling, speaking. The spoon is lifted and tapped once against the rim. Not twice. A plate is covered loosely with a cloth. Not finished, resting. The stove is turned off without pause. The flame disappears without drama. In this kitchen, endings are quiet. The light stays on. The door is pulled closed, not fully. The room remains slightly open, breathing. The kitchen holds the warmth of the night, the scent of flour, the memory of hands. By morning, no one will ask what happened here. They will simply feel that something is ready. Time passes differently now. The table does not demand to be cleared. The chair does not insist on being straightened. The walls carry the weight of evenings long gone. Children who once sat with their feet swinging. Adults who returned years later and chose the same place without knowing why. The room remembers all of them without attachment. A clock ticks somewhere behind a wall, not loudly enough to matter, not quietly enough to disappear. The refrigerator hum changes tone briefly, then returns to itself. The light outside shifts, almost imperceptibly. Not dawn, just less heavy. The kitchen does not react. A cup is placed upside down on the towel, not aligned. It will dry when it is ready. The towel absorbs what it needs, and nothing more. A chair leg scrapes the floor by a centimeter, then stops. No correction follows. This kitchen has learned that precision is overrated at night. A cupboard door remains slightly open. No one closes it. The room is allowed to stay unfinished. Bread rests under its cloth. The bowl waits. The pot cools. The house settles around the kitchen, like a body adjusting in sleep. Outside, another light goes out, then another. Inside, nothing changes. The kitchen does not mark time, it holds it. When the air shifts again, softer this time, the room accepts it without comment. The floor remains cool. The walls remain warm. The night moves on, and the kitchen stays. The kitchen does not close itself after that. It remains open in a way that cannot be seen from outside. The bowl stays on the table, but the flour inside has changed its texture slightly, as if it has listened to the room long enough to relax. The spoon rests where it was left. Its handle touches the wood at an angle that has been repeated for years. No one remembers deciding this. It simply happened often enough to become correct. A faint draft passes through the window again. This time, it carries less warmth and more depth, the kind of air that belongs to hours when even the street has stopped pretending. The curtain lifts, slower now, not because the breeze is weaker, because the night is heavier. Somewhere down the street, a metal shutter lowers completely. The sound arrives late, softened by distance and stone. The kitchen does not react. It has learned which sounds matter and which do not. The light above the table flickers once, not a warning, just a reminder that electricity here is old and patient. It steadies again. A second towel is taken from the hook behind the door. This one thinner, less absorbent, used only for hands. Hands are dried slowly, not thoroughly, enough. The towel is hung back, but not flat. One corner remains folded inward. It will be corrected tomorrow by someone who notices it without thinking. The floor holds the day in small ways. A faint mark where water dried unevenly. A shadow where a chair leg pressed longer than usual. No one cleans them now. Night work is not about removing traces. It is about allowing them to soften. The cupboard opens again, not for food, for a small glass. The glass is poured halfway with water, not cold, not warm. It is sipped once, then placed near the sink. The glass remains there. It is not rinsed. In this house, glasses that belong to the night are allowed to wait. The pot is touched again, not lifted, just acknowledged. Its metal has cooled enough to no longer respond. It has finished its part. The stove remains off. The kitchen clock ticks, but the sound has blended so completely with the walls that it feels less like counting and more like breathing. You could sit here now and not feel the need to do anything else. This is the moment kitchens like this are built for. They have seen people arrive late with nowhere else to go. They have absorbed conversations that were never repeated. They have carried grief that had no place in daylight. They do not ask questions. The table has held elbows that shook slightly, hands that rested too long, fingers that traced patterns without knowing why. Tonight, it holds none of that directly, only the weight of having done so before. The bread under the cloth releases a faint scent again. Not hunger, memory. A crumb that fell earlier is nudged aside by a bare foot passing once through the room. It is not swept, it is relocated. That is enough. The foot pauses on the cool tile, then withdraws. The chair that was angled remains angled. It has earned that position. Outside, the night shifts again, not toward morning, just deeper into itself. The kitchen stays awake without effort. It does not prepare. It does not anticipate. It simply exists in this in-between state where nothing is required and nothing is missing. If someone were to enter now, they would feel it immediately. Not welcome, not unwelcome, held. The kind of holding that does not close around you, but does not let you fall either. The window is finally nudged a fraction more closed. Not for temperature, for sound. The street no longer needs to be heard. The latch catches softly. One click, no second attempt. The light remains on. It will remain on until morning notices it and turns it off without ceremony. Until then, the kitchen keeps the night exactly as it is. More Italian bedtime stories coming very soon. If you enjoyed this moment of calm, subscribe and like the video for more gentle storytelling.